fitting on my textbook, right? Wire cutting. All right, then I have my trusty wire cutters. I've had these wire cutters for 15 years. One of my mentors I stole it out of his tool bag, actually. When you've been in this industry for long and you're on the job, one of the biggest things is never leave your tools laying around. When you leave your tools laying around, they wind up in somebody else's bag. You know. So Dave Scott was one of my mentors at a company I worked for in Brighton called Sportview Technology. And I think we were on a job in Oklahoma, and he left them laying around, and I snatched them. And I've had these for over 10 years now, and I love it. They're the best wire cutters you can have. But I want to thank everybody for coming out today and celebrating this with me. This is a journey I started on 5 years ago. It was a 2020 vision journey that I started on. I just want to share a quick story about how all this got started. Both of my parents were educators, as you know, in the Detroit school system for 30 plus years. And if you would have asked me back then that I'll be standing here teaching or wanting to teach somebody, I would have told you it was crazy. Not me, never me in my wildest dream. But sometimes we don't know what God leads us to. And a seed was planted into me about 7 years ago, my father. You know, I worked in the industry I've been in this industry for about 30 years now. As a technician, started out as a technician and grew my way up. And as a technician, every corporate job I've ever had or every job I've been on, I was the only African American. And I did network sports. I traveled all over the country doing network sports. And I could be in the middle of the World Series, one of the biggest games or whatever. Crew of 40 shot in the blue, he said to me, well, why don't you stop complaining and do something about it? And I said, what are you talking about? What do you mean? He said, well, why don't you start teaching young people to do what you do? And I was like, yeah, right, okay, yeah, I'm not a teacher. He was like, yes, you are, you just don't know. He said, you gotta find your purpose. You just don't know what your purpose is in life. And I didn't understand what he was saying at the time. But then, as it went on, my parents, they had a ministry, trumpeting high praises, outreach over on 6 Mile. And when they passed on, a lot of people didn't understand why I didn't keep the ministry going. Why didn't I step up and keep THP going? Well, little did they know, I had already had that conversation with my parents about that. And my parents told me that their vision was their vision. My vision is my vision. My purpose is my purpose. God has a purpose for me. And once I found out what that purpose was, then that's the vision, that's where I had to go. And when Dad planted that seed of education into me, that's when I found out what my purpose was, to teach young people. That's my ministry, to become an educator in the tech field and something with a gift that I was blessed with. I know this industry, you know, so that's my way of giving back. So with that in mind, I want to dedicate this training lab to my parents. But I want to have my friend, my brother, my minister, Mr. Derrick Marshall, come and pray for this day for us.
Amen.
Truly, first of all, to say the least that Derrick asked me so many things and values in terms of business, being a father, being a husband, and also in the trade.